So you have spoken about public space, what you may call sexuality, and what does this mean? You speak more on that to you.
I think what I'm trying to say here when I say the sexuality of public space, what I'm trying to probe at is the idea that there is no simple and natural way in which a woman is a sexual object. There is a very detailed process of putting together different aspects of how a woman is expected to conduct herself and how she conducts herself, which are related to the way in which men expect women to conduct themselves. That is, there is a norming of both genders in culture, which is related to how a woman should express attraction and how the man should respond to that attraction. Even the fact that one expresses and the other responds to is already very complexly and in a detailed way constructed. Take, for example, something very simple like eve teasing today. It is not simply a question of harassment. It's an extremely complex but unpredictable and unpleasant response to the fact that the man is attracted to the woman. An attraction by which he is both threatened and which he cannot avoid. And that violence of eve teasing is a result of that incomprehensible dilemma the woman's sexuality places a man. Right? It is not simply evil or harassment, because there is some lack of control in that process. Some way in which even the man in that action does not quite like himself doing it. At some level you can't. I mean, everything in society tells you can't do it, and yet you're doing it. So there's a very complex way in which that action is structured. And I think all these actions are structured with respect to the urban space, the demands of capitalism that women work, or that women go out to consume, to shops. The demand that you must have a culture whereby in going out, there's reshaping of the way women are seen. You also need a manner in which women and men are attracted to each other as if that's the only way possible, a heterosexual culture, as the normal bond. And this shaping, as Foucault has shown in his brilliant research on the history of sexuality, that this shaping is not accidental. It was shaped because this node of desire and pleasure, which was available, actually became something called sexuality. Through, on the one hand, trying to say, through processes, not trying to say, but processes that accused and convicted homosexual conduct as abnormal, punished childhood sexuality in the form of masturbation, showed that women who expressed symptoms of depression in their life were actually hysterical. All these are ways in which extreme force was exerted on the conduct of people, which actually crystallized the kind of gendering which you see in capitalist society today. It's a part of capitalist culture, the gender has its configuration, its articulation, specific shape we have. And I think Foucault's work is actually talking about that part of how, like you have roads which take you from one place to another, in your conduct there are established pathways which tell you what is the right way to go. And that establishment of those pathways in your mind, that establishment of urban pathways in your mind about proper forms of conduct, comes through a history through which sexuality is shaped in a manner that the heterosexual norm prevails. And what I was talking about last time, the way in which the woman is imaged, the way in which men look at that imaged woman, what men expect women to do today in terms of their conduct in relation to that woman in the image, how women respond to that, are all ways of this pathway, or all ways of encountering and practically negotiating this pathway, which comes through a cultural pressure on how to conform to sexuality in terms of a norm of conduct. That's what